Heresy players, this is now part 2 of the 30k theoretical. We'll be discussing underrated and underused units, and we'll also be talking about tips and tactics on how to get the most out of them, and also options on how to make them better in the future if Forge World is listening and needs ideas for Horus Heresy 2.0. Stay tuned and enjoy.
Welcome to Trident Wargaming, a podcast dedicated to all aspects of tabletop wargaming. Your hosts are Bill and Andy.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Trident Wargaming. This is episode 36, and we're continuing with the 30k theoretical part 2. I'm joined with my co-host Andy.
Hey.
We've got our two battle brothers here from Old Guard. We got Alex.
Hello, Heresy friends.
And we've got Dan.
Hello.
And if you don't recognize me, I'm Bill. And I guess, jumping into part 2, we're going to be going through some more underused console types. This particular episode is going to be on the Librarian and the Forge Lord. I guess start with the Librarian first.
You don't want to know what I'm doing right now, hobby-wise?
Well, okay, sure. You know what? We could do that too. Let's find out. Dan, what are you doing?
Jumping straight.
I went
into
hard.
it.
Well, yeah, I was going all action. No foreplay. All in.
Right to business. Yeah. Well, I mean, last time we talked about Titanicus and how I was, trying to get getting everyone into it, and we ended up playing one game, our first game ever.
Yay! It's true.
Yeah.
We did.
And I basically almost finished my Loyalist Legio. That was basically yesterday, and now I'm working on Necromunda for upcoming campaign. So,
Oh yeah.
Very nice.
Delic or Delic, I don't know, whatever how you pronounce it. Sneaky guys and roll.
What was it?
Delac.
Is it Delac or Delac? Was the other one we heard the other day?
Yeah.
I think me and Bill heard that a few times. Delac?
Yeah. I've heard so many different pronunciations of it.
That's the French Canadian Necromunda gang.
Awesome. Picking up poutines at the trading post.
You under scum, you do not appreciate this.
They do kind of look French, eh? The glasses and
Yeah, they have an interesting look to them.
yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. How about you, Alex? What do you got going on?
Did you get sucked into the void?
I don't know. I
don't know if we lost Alex to the warp.
Maybe. Who knows?
Okay, well, I guess I'll talk about myself. Some white scars, you guys probably obviously seen. Just some of the infantry, classic tactical squad. Pretty much got them all done up. Just have to do the bases. And my Goliath can for Necromunda as well. Working on them. Just kind of got the base colors on them, and hopefully by the end of, I guess, this week, I'll have them done. Minus the bases, but should be interesting to see how they come about. Other than that, just multiple other projects, of course. Other podcasts and unboxings and bolt action and all that jazz. So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Busy.
Yeah, there's been lots of stuff coming out.
No, for sure. All the a whole bunch of new stuff coming out. That you guys see online as well, right? Miniatures and whatnot.
Very true. Very true.
Just more stuff for the future. Lots of painting to go. So, I guess we'll kick it off, with the Librarian.
Hey, be easy. I still got a turn, okay? Myself, I've been cranking out bolt action like crazy. I've been going pretty hard on my infantry, and today was just banging out tanks, getting everything chipped up and weathered, which has been nice. I'm hoping to have the tanks all finished up this week. My 2 machine gun teams and another squad of infantry. Really trying to push hard and in the next month and a bit here, just get the rest of my bolt action completely finished, which will be pretty sweet. Yeah, looking forward to be able to field a fully painted army, even though I've only got 3 games under my belt so far.
Yeah, I know you come a long way with that for getting stuff completed pretty quickly. Pretty cool. So, I guess we'll see about Alex here, I guess.
Yeah, he's
Vansar all the time.
Oh, there we go.
That's all I'm doing. Vansar and 5,000 ping.
Yeah, love it.
Vansar, 19-piece Vansar kit right now, and it's driving me insane.
But they got that new showcased that new Vansar upgrade pack. That plastic sweetness upgrade pack, so that's always good.
Ordered that. I'm gonna order the spiders too when they show up. Excited about it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, didn't they get that big suit or something?
Mm-hmm.
That showed up a little while ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
They got a lot of love for
Vansar.
I don't know. Yeah, they're a little weird. And the Vansar, they're using like these mechanized suits and like cool body armor, and then they're fighting hobos literally. Down in the Necromunda.
Cawdor, yeah. Candle-powered las cannons and shit.
Well, everyone else has got just, like, hodgepodge body armor, and then these guys come in there with, like, the futuristic suits, and, like, they just seem out of place.
House of Artifice, man. They're hardcore.
I guess.
Well, regardless, I mean, Necromunda or not, there was a time where I was planning on using them for a regiment for Heresy, for a militia, just with their models and their body armor. I thought they would definitely fit into just a full-fledged militia army or something. So, considering where that Heresy train never stops running, there's always ideas for conversions, right? And I don't know. To me, they seemed pretty good for that. A lot of different poses, a lot of different weaponry. They had some of the old school kind of like over the shoulder weapon holder. So, yeah, pretty cool on that.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, try assembling a kit, then tell me how much you like it. 19 pieces for a single infantry model. Bullshit.
Oof. No thanks. No thanks. Well, I guess jumping into it with the Librarian consul type. Overall, I have not seen many in action unless you play the Dirty Witch Army, known as Thousand Suns. Obviously playing my Space Wolves, I've used my Rune Priest equivalent, which obviously are far cooler, but just generic Librarians, yeah, you don't really see a lot of them, and I don't know if that's guys, strictly playing to the fluff with the Edict of Nicaea, or they just don't want to use them, because they have a lot of good versatility. Like, they do have some really great options to help amplify your army.
Mm. Well, we have what? How many psychic powers are they to have here?
6 or 7?
Yeah.
6, different ones?
Yeah.
And then they have 6 each?
You have what? Biomancy, Divination, Pyromancy, Telekinesis, Telepathy. And then you have the Demology, Sanctic powers, and Malefic powers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and of course, each of them have their own specific spells and stuff or powers. But like, Biomancy is usually one that's used. Just I think because of like endurance, maybe warp speed.
Well, it's the strongest, right?
Yeah,
It's definitely one of the strongest psychic like disciplines. For I guess giving your army a little bit of much needed durability. I think a close second is divination. Just being able to get a lot of rerolls, or like that's with perfect timing, or ignoring cover on your weapons. That's also a big one that seems to do a lot of work. I think
Rending's pretty good too.
yeah.
There's kind of like almost as many combinations as you want. It is kind of a Build-A-Bear type character. Whether you're melee heavy or shooting heavy, you do kind of have with the psychic powers an adder there to feed into any kind of type army that you do want to build.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Go ahead, Dan.
What about the cost?
That's probably the biggest downfall, to be honest.
Yeah, they're not cheap. You're paying 50 points for your regular Centurion, 25 points just to become a Librarian consul, so you're at 75, and now you have to take up to one or two psychic levels for 20 points apiece, so you're adding another 20 to 40 points, which, let's be real, if you're going to take a Librarian, you're probably going to rock a level 2.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I would.
Plus 10 for Artificer as well.
Pardon?
Plus 10 for Artificer as well.
Yeah.
No point.
This is true. Yeah. So you're throwing in some substantial points to get yourself a character that's gonna be a good, I guess, force multiplier, depending how you run them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you get. I do believe you get the force weapon too. Do you not?
Force weapon for free. Yeah.
Yeah, which he's the only one that's actually really able to get that. So, could be useful in a pinch when you need it. But there are other weapons out there now that kind of do a lot more work than just that. So, but I mean, overall, a lot of options to use them with their psychic powers. Depending on, I guess, whatever army you're in, you want to use it in. Like word bearers, Bill, would you throw one of them into your armies?
Librarian, most definitely.
No.
I think so. Why not?
Because all your characters are psychers, and you can buy psyker levels for your praetors.
Sure, but I can only buy one with Burning Lore, and it's 30 points.
I don't know. I don't see a point. It just seems redundant to me.
Like, I have toyed around with playing a Diabolist before. Obviously, it's like one of your requisites for your army. Got to have a chaplain or a Diabolist or insert another character here. But it's, a Diabolist is okay, but only having Psychic level 1 and being fairly expensive. I think the only reason you're taking those characters in particular is so you can give dark channeling to everything. So it depends, right? I really like being able to take level 2, and especially if I'm gonna combo up with Galvorback or something like that, right? Like, you can run Biomancy, or you can run Demonology, one of the Malefic one. If you're not using Lorgar, I think a Librarian would be better suited just to take more powers. If you have Lorgar, then I'd probably go with the Diabolist, just to be able to try and get dark channeling for the rest of the army. That's my personal thought on it, anyways. That, because Lorgar can pick powers, so you can really build a nasty squad around him.
I do like the Malefic powers where you're summoning demons. Definitely ties in with your word bearers, right?
It does.
Because like sacrifice, incursion, possession, those are all summoning. Plus, you have your Primaris power of summoning, right?
Yeah.
And then you also have other powers, which are blessings and whatnot. Cursed Earth.
Cursed
Dark.
Earth is the one main the guys will be going for.
Dark Flame as well. Soul Blaze and Torrent, which you don't really see too often. And then Infernal Gaze, Armor Bane, Flesh Bane. It's only Strength 3, AP 4, so Beam. But there's a lot of options there too for summoning demons. Of course, it has the chart on the other side, but I'm not sure if the new book counters that now. I think it does, doesn't it? It came out
for demons.
Yeah.
I would say you'd use the most up-to-date rules, which would be from book 7.
That's
book 8 or whatever.
Yeah. Now, I think it's kind of a what's the word? Like a gentleman's agreement across the board online that most guys will use the up-to-date like Demons of the Runestorm army list instead of the old 7th edition codex. It just makes sense. I know there's nothing officially supporting that thought, but like there are a few things that are a little bit lagged behind, and I personally wouldn't have an issue anyone using the most up-to-date rules for that. So I'd say you're probably a safe bet going into a game using that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's just better overall, right? You actually have a list.
You shouldn't be using old demon rules now that the new book is out. That's coming from a demon player. They're just not balanced to that. No. To be absolutely honest, and it creates, like, if you run a War Bear's armory with demon summoning, it gets out of hand pretty quickly without some strict checks and balances, some house ruling and stuff like that. So it just doesn't make sense with the new rules in place.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, if you're making a thematic army, like that's a perfect consul to throw in. Model wise, I mean, they do have the Terminator special model there where he's summoning that bloodletter.
Yeah.
That's a cool model, but
see, that's kind of about it. Oh, they don't really have a lot of like 30k-esque librarians. I know everyone uses the Severin Loth.
Yeah.
Like everybody and their dog uses that, right? I customized my own for my word bearers, and even my wolves. I custom made something else just because. Yeah, I like to kind of break the mold.
You know what? Like from a army creation perspective, I think a librarian fits Thousand Suns very well. I think you can make him work. I think dumping him into a squad of Blade Warriors or Sekhmet as a buffing character, I think is a good idea all around. I think thematically it makes sense too. I think honestly, I think you can make room in those armies for that character, and it provides value.
Well, that goes back to the word bearers thing. I could see the value in taking a librarian, but you can buy a praetor that can be level 3.
For who?
Yeah,
for 1,000 Suns.
Yeah, well, that's the trade-off, right?
That's slightly different.
Yeah,
considering everything gets psychic powers.
Yeah, I mean the librarian he can be level 2 compared to just everyone else who can just buy one, other than the praetor. But
yeah,
can
you kind of maybe the sidebar? Can you take him in a Mornival game, in a smaller Centurion game, because you can't take a praetor?
A librarian?
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. I guess.
Is he a supporting character though?
Yeah,
he's a support officer.
Character.
Yeah.
So you'd have to back him up with something.
You still need an HQ choice, yeah. But like he fits. Like again, for smaller point games, it still it allows you to thematically play that hero character who's still a librarian.
Yeah. Well, and only really costing what, 125 with artificer armor. I think you're getting a pretty good steal. That's just bare bones.
Iron armor endurance off on your Terminator squad in a Zone Mortalis.
Yeah, that'd be nice for sure.
That'd be kind of brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, there are obviously better combos. Some better combos than others, depending on how you want to build your force. But I definitely agree with the statement earlier about Build-A-Bear and really being able to gear him to whatever, I guess, squad you want to throw him in, be it shooting or combat.
Yeah,
it's a good way to go. So,
I mean, I don't think it should be understated that like some of these units that we're reviewing are not maybe like the pick of the litter for hyper competitive match play games.
No.
But the vast majority of Heresy players who are building thematic lists and having fun, I think this fits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Agreed.
I was gonna say I mean I do have a Raven Guard army, and I do have a dream of building a librarian with like twin lightning claws, and then taking telepathy, which seems to fit the Raven Guard because you can get like Shroud and Psychic Shriek, and then there's I forget what it's called now, but it's the one where whoever you're fighting, they get Ballistic Skill 1 and Weapon Skill 1.
Oh, you're talking like invisibility?
Well, it used to be
invisibility. It used to be that,
yeah.
They changed that.
But yeah, and it seems to fit the Raven Guard like that, those psychic powers. Or you try and get Biomancy and then get Warp Speed off and then have like 8 or 9 attacks on the charge and with Rending Lightning Claws and then there was a whole bunch of Saracana stuff for Librarians too.
Yeah, there is in Book 8.
We probably should talk about them if someone's got the book open, because that's a big part of it, right? Is they gave like Librarians this big boost in doing things.
It is true. It opened up a lot of options for them specifically. Mm-hmm. But I think that was the big, the great equalizer, let's call it, with the Sire Arcana in Book 8. It kind of leveled the playing field against demons and against Thousand Suns. Even like after the FAQ, it kind of just gave you a little bit more tools to be able to deal with any of these other armies.
Yeah. And if people don't know, Saracana is in Book 8. They're literally relics, but they're not relics. They're kind of in this weird place because they're totally legal in armies, and you can take multiples of them. And they basically give you like anti-psyker weapons and abilities to take things with your Librarians.
Well, they have things. They have things like null amp collars, right?
Yeah.
Where it's 15 points, and it's not just to a Librarian; it's also to the Esterist consul, which is a different consul we'll talk about later at some point. But it just gives him whatever unit he's in or within 12 inches, pretty much of the collar. Like it gives him a chance to deny the witch attempts, right? So.
It's kind of like a Psychic Hood from 40k, old 40k.
Yeah. And there's other ones. There's other weapons and whatnot too. So there's actually quite a few of them.
There's a ton.
Yeah.
If you guys are following along, with your Book 8, it's page 301, and kind of goes through all the way. I think up to and including page 310. No, 308 is the end. But there's some pretty good ones.
What's that one you like, Bill? That is it the Dream Plate?
Which one? Oh, the Trigorian Dream Plate. It's decent to use. Like I guess if you're fighting a bunch of demons or models with demons, basically one Praetor, Centurion, or Consul in the army may take the Dream Plate for 10 points. A model with equipped with this Dream Plate has a 3+ invulnerable save against wounds caused by models with the Demon or Demon of the Runestorm special rules.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice for a 10-point upgrade. It's pretty legit. I don't think you can go wrong with it. One of my favorite weapons in here, page 302 for the Psi-reactive arsenal, is the Toxi-Farron weapons. And this is kind of where it really starts to turn the tide against some of these armies that really rely on these psychic powers to bolster their army. It's basically a sweet template, flamer template. It's, your regular flamer is strength 4, AP 5, and which is fine. Your contemptor can have one as well. It's a Toxi-Farron cannon, which is strength 7, AP 4. The nice thing is both of these special rules, weapons I should say, have a special rule called Tainted. And any successful wound dealt by a weapon with this rule removes the effects of any psychic blessing which is active on the target unit. In addition, to wound roll of 6 is resolved at AP 2. So all you have to do is wound, and you're stripping the blessings away. So I'll use the classic Magnus, Sekhmet, Biomancy all the way, right? And I started building my Wolves army around this, and I basically would take a regular box knot with this flamer cannon and throw him in a Legion drop pod, and he was super cheap. I think it worked out to 165, 170 all in, and I would drop pod right into the depths of hell and flame this squad that's cast its Biomancy and got all juiced up, remove the blessings, and then proceed for the next shooting phase, just punishing that army until, like, the whole army would focus on that one unit until it either died or it was stripped down so bad where they have to deal with that dreadnought, which is great because they're pulling resources to deal with that dreadnought instead of your strength 8 AP2 weapons, being an Arcus or whatever. And it was really good.
Or you flame them and charge Russ and the entire Death Swarm into them.
Yes.
The wolves and just wreck them in one single turn.
Yeah, well, you can, right? I think any army, if you have points, I would highly recommend taking this loadout. Take a box knot.
Yeah, if you're playing a lot of Thousand Suns or Demons, yeah.
Yeah. It's just, especially even if you're going to an event, chances are you will run into something nasty, and I think you're just way better off having that ace up the sleeve. It's still a dreadnought, so you can still roll in with a power fist and do some damage, but it's just having the flexibility to drop it in with a regular pod, and if the dreadnought dies, but he gets that flame off, cool, right? Like, it gives you that one turn to kind of even the odds, so to speak.
So we're trying to talk about librarians here, and Bill's trying to tell you how to kill them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we jumped into the Sire Cannon. There's a lot of stuff that's used for them, but also
what about the Digitalis Arcanus? To Dan's point there, if you get off warp time and you can activate Digitalis Arcanus, it gives you plus D3 initiative and attacks for just a single turn.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
My one for the next turn or for the rest of the game, like you get like plus 6 attacks on a single unit.
It's nasty. It's nasty. That's the Digitalis Arcanus is 30 points. The drawback on it though is basically once the power wears off after a turn, your attacks initiative become 1 for the rest of the game. So he's just really tired after that. He needs to light a cigarette and go to bed.
Sleepy mode for librarian.
Well, we could talk for days about this.
Yeah.
But I think really there's one I think that outshines everything else, and that's the Loyalist icon of the Blazing Sun.
That's really good. It is good. Let me pull.
Basically, it's a psychic hood on crack, and well, I don't know how else to explain it. Literally,
it is. No, he's right. It's 30
You
points.
don't even need to. Yeah, you don't even need. It just says an independent character can have it. You don't have to be any librarian. You don't have to be some kind of psyker. You could be a praetor or consul, whatever, right? You can literally just throw it on a 50-point console and just have them go around null bubbling, and basically what it is, and what it is if a traitor, Legion Psyker, within 12 of the icon successfully attempts to manifest any psychic power in the current psychic phase, the bearer of the icon of the Blazing Sun may attempt to nullify that power. To do so, the power of the icon of the Blazing Sun must take a leadership test. Sure, 9 or 10, so more than likely they're going to pass. If the leadership test is passed, the power does not manifest. If you fail the power, if the leadership test is failed, the power is manifested unaffected. The bearer of the icon of Blings suffers a wound with no save. But the chances of you failing it are very slim, right? Although double 6, you just auto die.
Yeah, but if the result of the test was a double 6, the bearer's faith is found wanting. They are consumed by the power they sought to invoke and are immediately removed from play with no saves of any kind. That's cool.
The crack right there.
Yeah, and then demons. Any demons that fight, they're at weapon skill 1 when locked in combat with this model.
Yeah, it can be pretty good. There's definitely a lot to digest in Sire Arcana. I would highly recommend looking at that stuff. Just because, there's many tools to fuel your warp-induced fantasies.
And it's all legal. I don't know why people think it's like this weird little, like, you have to ask your opponent thing. It's all war gear you can buy. So.
Yeah, not sure. I know the first time we used the Divining Blade, people were kind of, really? Didn't know that, right? So,
Well, we showed up to one LVO and there was like 4 of the Empton guys with Divining Blades and none of any of the other guys with them, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know it was a thing."
Yeah, I did not take a Divining Blade.
Well, just you're saying. A TO. You can't just stomp around.
Hey, I did, and the match it really worked for me was against the Word Bearers. Right, he had the full force, the full Gal Vorback and Logar and Erebus, that whole combo wombo, and then he also had as his allies Daemons of the Runestorm. He plopped like a great unclean one right on my doorstep, and I was like, nope, I'm charging this with my Praetor with the Divine Blade, and it was like a big balloon getting popped with a needle, just
it's pretty gross.
So, but like besides just the normal console for a librarian, I mean, sometimes I think some of the legions might have options for psychic powers. I know the salamanders have a Rite of War where they have specific psychic power.
Yeah, they can shoot up a beam.
Yeah, so there are options, right? I mean, I'm not really going to go into too much details with that one, but
no,
there are options for putting that into your armies to fit in with your armies or to be thematic with your armies. So overall, can have some fun with it. Can really amp your armies, right? So
with the theme here of ongoing, we're going to probably do this again for the rest of the units. But like, how do you make a librarian better?
That's a good one. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe they have to relook at some of the psychic powers.
So, yeah, psychic powers aside, I think even if you dropped psychic mastery by a little bit, instead of 20 points per mastery, maybe make it like 15. Or when you buy him as a consul for 25, you give him level 1 for free.
Yeah.
And then you can buy level 2 for 20, right? Like something like that I think would be a little bit nicer. I think if you did that, it could help bump them up quite a bit.
Well, I mean, the other problem is we keep talking about characters that are support class.
Yeah. Yes, a lot of
being
them
able
are
to
support officers.
Yeah. Not being able to take, then you end up taking tax, right? You got to take like a consul or some kind of praetor or delegatus or whatever, right? So I think that's part of the problem.
You think they'll get rid of that?
No, but I think that it would help with some of these, like the Herald and the Librarian and whoever else is a support character.
Just make them legit characters that can lead. Maybe not Master of the Legion, but just leave them as is, so you can just take them as a base HQ.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a bad idea at all, actually. No, that's a good point. Good point.
Nice.
I know the second console type that we were going to be looking at is the Forge Lord. And I have to admit, I've played one several times. I really like them. I haven't come across too many in opposing armies. I know Dan has dabbled in the Forge Lord realm a bit with his Iron Hands. So, getting into it, it's a 35 point upgrade. Not bad. War gear, you get a Cerebral Arm and Artificer Armor for free. You also get additional war gear that can be taken by the Tech Marine. So at additional cost. And the big one for me, and it's always a big one for me, was being able to take a Cortex Controller for 15 points. And getting the Battlesmith special rule. He is not a support character.
What does that do for you?
What, the Cortex Controller?
With all the rules, what does that allow you to do with your army?
Well, speaking primarily as a true warsmith, I get to take Iron Circle without having to gorge a whole bunch of points out. Cortex Controller lets my Battle Automata Iron Circle run around and not act silly, for lack of a better term. They get to ignore program behavior, which can be a huge pain in the ass. Having Battlesmith, I'm also allowed to repair my Iron Circle, which is really nice, considering you get the servo arm, so that helps. Also being able to take points or items for points on page 31 that the Tech Marine gets. It can be actually quite a bit of fun. You can take rad grenades and a cyber familiar, and I think, speaking just pound for pound character wise, I think Forge Lords, you can probably make one of the best like combat characters, minus like an Imperial Fist, because they get storm shields where everyone else kind of doesn't. But if you're rocking Cataphractii, Terminator armor, and a cyber familiar, you can rock that 3+ invulnerable save, which is pretty damn sweet.
So going back to the Battlesmith rule, like,
Yeah,
I know you mentioned Cortex Controller and you know, your Battle Automata,
yeah,
but they also can restore a lost hull point
yeah.
and or repair a weapon destroyed result, which I've never seen. I don't think, like, have you guys ever seen that?
Repair hull points?
No, repair a weapon destroyed result.
Oh, no, because it's not that common.
No.
So, like, I don't know, for me, it's funny because I mentioned this before earlier on here. Off air there, we were talking that weapon destroyed on like my laser destroyers from my Ultramarine. You know, if that came to effect, that would be pretty neat to have, just having them sit there and kind of repair when I overcharge my cannons, or if I did lose a weapon on it.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention that your repair roll is a 5+, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then I believe you could increase that. What it is, but you're able to increase it to a better saving throw for that, for your repair roll. Just not sure which one it was here.
Well, servo arms give you +1. So whatever so whatever Battlesmith gives you, which I think is a 6+, and then the servo arm makes you 5+.
There you go.
Yeah.
But if you're like, you know, Iron Hands and stuff, they get better. I've only ever used them combat wise.
Yeah.
I've never used them to fix vehicles or anything. Like never to sit back and like fix a an artillery tank or anything.
So
Yeah, that's the only.
Battlesmith is a 5-up.
Is it?
Ping kicked me off. Yeah, Battlesmith is a 5-up, and then the servo arm gives you +2.
No. We're not Mechanica.
Model with Battlesmith rule may add +1 to the repair result if also equipped with the servo arm. So +1. So 4 up still. Better than 5. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. And it like Bill said, that's the only time I've used it is for combat. I didn't give him Terminator armor because he comes with Artificer armor. And I just gave him a Refractor Field and the Cyber Familiar, and I just gave him a Thunderhammer, so he was swinging, at Initiative 1, but with Strength 8, and then he gets a free servo arm punch, so he, potentially is getting 4 attacks.
Yeah.
Or 5 on the charge, so... But it was only to take rad grenades, really.
Rad
That's
grenades
the only
as well.
purpose.
It's huge.
Yeah, that's what I was doing with them. It was just to be rad grenades and throw them in a squad. But I mean, it is nice that he can fix vehicles and stuff, and he does. So if he's riding in a transport and the transport takes a hull point or whatever, you get like a free roll, and if you can heal him. I don't know. He can take a lot of stuff, but it's hard to say like what his exact role is, because he can buy a lot. Like you can buy him servitors if you want. I don't know why you would, but
yeah,
you can.
It's one of those things where I think you can get caught up in the glitz and glamour of it all. I know, like when I take my Forge Lord, it's usually with Iron Circle because I'm not running a Warsmith and I'm not running Perturabo. And it's just to keep the Iron Circle alive. It's to restore a lost wound and keep him alive. And if I do get charged, I've got rad grenades to try and help because I don't really want to get swarmed by like a shit ton of Marines or, force weapon squads or anything crazy. So whatever I can do to help kill them off quicker. Obviously having strength 10 hammers makes that easy by itself, but it's just every little bit helps in case you're going to have a support squad in there. But I think cheap and cheerful is best if you set him up for one specific thing. He can definitely pound for pound go against some Praetors just because of the save and the way you can tool him up. Even being able to take Tartaros armor with a Cyber Familiar, so you're still rocking a 2-up, 4-up, and you can still run, you can still overwatch, you can still sweep, I think that's often overlooked. Those particular interactions in the game, I think, are very powerful and can help you a lot down the road. So
he definitely is overlooked. Definitely. If you're just going to take, a random consul for whatever reason, you're just I need something, he's probably the better choice just because of what he can take and how much he can take. So you can literally make him into whatever you want, right? If you want him to just be a support character, bust open doors with his servo arm or whatever, then he's your option. But if you want him to be fully kitted and tooled, he might even be better than, potentially a champion at the console level, right?
Yeah.
So, because being able to take rad grenades and all the things he can take and all that stuff. So he can take grav guns. I forgot about this. So you can put him in Terminator armor and give him a graviton gun.
Yeah.
And he can shoot it off without any penalty. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's nasty.
So if you have them in a squad, and this is what a lot of Iron Hands guys will do, and they'll take the Gorgon Terminators, and then they'll take a Forge Lord with a Graviton gun himself, and then you got 3 Graviton guns in this 10-man squad. So I mean, there's lots of lots of options you can use them, and Cortex controllers if you're playing with a lot of, you know,
Automata.
battle automatas
Yeah.
and stuff like that. If you're, he can take Nuncio Voxes. He can, you know,
He's got a lot of options. Scan,
yeah, he can literally take everything.
conversion beamer.
He's the
Conversion
jack of all
beamer, yeah.
trades. He really
Yeah,
is.
basically.
I know.
But
oh, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say, there's one thing that possibly overlooked is because he has the Tech Marine Covenant loadout, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's going to eat up an elite slot, right? If you were to take a Tech Marine Covenant,
Yeah.
so I mean technically you're using one of your HQ slots, and not everybody uses, you know, more than the one slot sometimes. So it keeps your elite slots open. Plus your character, I mean, he still is a Centurion, so he still can fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just one wound. You know, he's got a better weapon skill and ballistic skill. So that's what I was kind of looking at just recently. Just the fact that, you know, you're opening up that elite slot for something else, maybe some dreadnoughts, or maybe, you know, a veteran squad or something like that. So
Yeah.
but yeah, he's got some pretty good options, and I think I might have to build one.
Yeah, they are
Well,
worth the points.
they definitely got two cool models. They have like the Mark IV and the Mark III. I mean, the Mark III looks better, but they do have two consul models, which are awesome.
The Tech Marines?
Yeah.
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 Don't forget, you can also steal the Iron Hand's Iron Father and shave that dirty hand off. I've done it. It looks awesome. He fills in great for a Forge Lord and or Warsmith. So just hit.
You could take an augury scanner. I forgot about that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Jack of all trades, man.
So
I'm telling you.
You can literally give him like an augury scanner and a Nuncio Vox, and you know, if you have like a deep striking army or whatever, right? Like he could potentially, yeah, he's literally a support character that can whip ass.
Yeah.
I can't remember the what's that, the army where you're pretty much running like all dreadnoughts.
Oh, that's
Iron Brethren, or
yeah, something like that.
Is there something with him in that you have to take?
you have to take I think it's a Forge Lord and an Apothecary, a Primus Medicae, I believe.
You have to take somebody with the right of command too.
Yeah.
So you have to take 3 HQs, but yeah.
Nasty.
I could see it though, being thematic with all these lumbering dreadnoughts running up, and Forge
Fury
Lord.
of the Ancients.
That's it. And Forge Lord, you know, running in behind and making sure everybody's working properly and not going crazy, unless it's towards the enemy. So, no, that's cool. Yeah, it's interesting. Interesting and possibly overlooked unit for sure. Consul. Any other thoughts on him, or I'm gonna jump into, I believe we have 2 more units to go through.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of how could you make him better. He's pretty good. I'm sad to say, like, not many people use him, and maybe after hearing this kind of talk, you might change your mind. He might really want to use him. I think points wise, he's fairly priced. I think for what he can actually take is really good.
Well, he gets free artificer armor,
Yeah,
right?
like,
from the beginning.
I don't know if I would
Sherlock.
change much on him, honestly. Like, I think he's pretty good all around.
Can he take the options of the Centurion, or is it?
Yeah.
So not only it's the options of the Centurion, but he can take the options of the
Tech Marine as well.
Yeah. So he can be fully kitted out, right? Like you can give him 2 lightning claws if you want it for whatever reason, and have a servo arm for 1 initiative, 1 strength 8 punch, right? Like
Yeah. No, he's
I'm giving him a jump pack.
he's got a lot of cool stuff. Like, you can give him pretty much anything you really need to.
put him on a bike, right?
Yeah.
Like
Oh, that reminds me of the old school bikers with the Tech Marine arm, like the servo arm.
Yeah, man. Like, you don't see that
shit.
anymore. So I think the modeling potential is huge with them too.
yeah, I was gonna say he's definitely a rule of cool model. Like he definitely, with the big servo arm and like the metal plates. I've seen, like, I'm on the Iron Hands page, and man, they go all out. Like there's times where you see guys just building characters out of nothing, like almost orky kind of putting armors and stuff on guys, and
Well, he's the good consul to do it with, right? So
lots of cogs, and
that's cool. Nice.
I mean the classic loadout is a power axe or a thunderhammer, but if you want lightning claws, go at her.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more Forge Lords, I guess, in the future.
That's right.
We'll probably see them all pop up now, right?
That is right.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And we, I guess, Alex, you still there?
He might be. He might not be.
Yeah. Okay.
That's okay.
He's out of town right now. He's on some computer, so he's kind of in and out right now.
He's lost in the warp right now.
Are we getting to,
I guess,
one of my favorite characters? Or, sorry, units?
Yeah. So, underused, underrated, actual, units in the army. And these next 2 were actually listener requested. So we wanted to jump onto those. First one was the Legion Destroyer Squad. People wanted to know, how can you make better use? What can you do to make them good? You don't see them often. And they did get FAQ'd to 115 points a squad instead of the 150 that they used to be, which is a huge boost, considering what they can get access to. Dan, I guess if you want to kick off.
Sure. Well, I mean, first you have to look at them as veterans. They basically have the same stat line as veterans, but the difference is they can take exotic, rad weapons. And I think that's how you got to treat them, is how you treat veterans is, because their leadership, all of them are leadership 9, which is awesome. So even if the Sarge dies, they're still leadership 9. They do come with 2 pistols and a chainsword, so they're hitting. They always have they always have an extra attack.
Oh, they also have counterattack, eh?
Yeah, they have counterattack. Yes. So you don't want to charge; you want to be charged. Right.
And they also have hardened armor.
Hardened armor, yeah. So void, void, and they reroll blast weapons and void harden. I guess that's so they ignore rules and more zone immortalis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They're basically, the problem is people don't like them because they don't sweep units, and they don't have high AP values unless you giving the Sarge a power sword. And
right, but are they really meant for close combat?
Yeah, because they have 2 pistols and chainswords and counterattack.
Well, what else do they got?
I think really they're meant for taking out backline stuff.
Yeah.
I really think they're good in Zona Mortalis, being that close and close quarters.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm stumbling all over my tongue today.
Just so excited.
Yeah.
They also get rad grenades for free.
Yes,
which is
all of them have it.
That's huge. the sergeant gets access to 3 Phosphex bombs, which Phosphex bombs are glorious. They're glorious gifts to share with your opponent and rejoice when you see their eyes light up in fear as they go, "Oh shit!" as you just let them rip.
I never take them because I'm worried it's gonna fly back onto my unit.
Well, that might happen. It could. It very well could.
They do have options for like the rad missiles and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like a missile launcher.
And it's got a suspensor web, and the rad missiles are strength 4, rad fledge, poison 3 or 4 plus. I can't remember. And so I mean, there's still, and it's small blast.
Yeah.
So it's still doing the same thing as like a crack missile, but you have a small blast. Red Fledge is not going to come up that often unless you're fighting units with multiple wounds. It basically gives you -1 toughness if you take a wound from it.
Right. And then there's there are some upgrades for the sergeant, of course, the usual, lightning claw, power fist, all that stuff. But in the Sciarcana section,
that's where they got better too. Sorry, Andy.
No, it's fine. So as Bill mentioned earlier about the Toxypharon weapons, that actually they're allowed to exchange their hand flamers, which they can upgrade to, for those flamers for free, right? So they can get that so that they can pretty much take off blessings and whatnot of those psychers and demons or units that have that on them.
They can even take psych out munitions.
Yeah, and that was what I was going to get to here.
Which I think this is, okay, so Book 8, I think this is where the Destroyer squad becomes really, really good. The entire squad may take psych out grenades for +5 points. The whole squad for 5 points. Which is insane, because multiple bombs are 25. So throw those in the trash and take the psych out grenades. Any model unit may exchange their hand flamer with a grenade launcher with psych out grenades for free. All models in the unit equipped with missile launchers may take psych out missiles in addition to their rad missiles for 5 points. So all these psych out grenades and the launchers and the missiles, they all have a special rule called Psyshock. And if a unit containing at least one demon or psyker, i.e. model with psyker, Brotherhood of Psychers, Sorceress, blah 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 blah, is hit by a weapon with the Psyshock special rule, one randomly determined psyker or demon model in the unit suffers perils of the warp in addition to any other damage. Which is really good. Because, let's be real, most, like, as we were talking about librarians, most librarians don't want to roll on the chart, on the table at all. No. Like, there's the odd chance where you'll be like, oh, cool, I went Super Saiyan. Usually you're getting, like, finger blasted by a demon in the warp, and you're, like, off the table. You're gonna die.
Yeah.
So
anything underneath 4, so 1, 2, 3 are usually the bad ones. Number 1 is the worst.
It's the worst.
That's the one where you get sucked into the warp, and then you like do like so many wounds to people around you and stuff.
It's really bad. Yeah.
But just forcing people to take those tests
is huge.
You're potentially gonna have that, right? Especially if you're playing a demon army, where it says all you have to do is hit. Doesn't say anything about wounding. Doesn't say anything about armor saves. Nothing. Just all you have to do is hit it.
Yeah. Which is
nice. The thing, it is nice, but it is a blast.
Yeah.
So, like, you know how blasts go. I mean, you could hit, or it could just go anywhere, right? So,
if you've seen a demon army, there's usually like 20 of them in a squad, and they're all giant bases.
Yeah,
but yes,
it's
good. So you got what? 2 of these weapons, 3 of these weapons. Yeah, so you got 2 of these weapons, which is nice. You can throw that at them and have that. The nice thing about this is if you have, you throw that against a unit that has a character inside the actual unit, being protected by the unit, there is a chance that you could hit that guy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I mean, if of course if the psyker is off on his own, well, then more than likely he's probably toast. But there is that random chance though that could possibly get hit, which is pretty cool.
Well, he doesn't even have to hit that character. Like, I mean, you don't have to pinpoint him. It just says as long as the unit containing at
That's what I'm
least
saying.
one. So all you have to do is clip. You know.
That's what I'm saying though. Is there's a random
Could
chance.
randomly hit him, yeah.
Like if he's inside that unit being protected by that unit, right? Because he's joined that unit.
Yeah.
There's a chance that randomly you could still get him. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, randomly, if it's just one psyker in a squad of like Terminators, that psyker's still going to get hit. The psyker's going to get hit. So, but yeah,
I think.
And
sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
I was just going to say them having grenades, like the 5-point grenades, like it just happens, right?
Yeah.
If they get into combat with a psychic unit,
right?
It's definitely nice. I think one thing to not be underestimated either is with those psych out weapons and whatnot. The way I read it, and you guys let me know if it's different, but it sounds like per hit. It almost sounds like Psyshock, like per hit, you're taking a perils.
So if you had two grenade launchers,
it's hit by a weapon.
Yeah, so if you're doing multiple hits with, you're doing grenade launchers and throwing a grenade, you could potentially get a squad to roll up to 3 perils.
Yeah,
which could be really good. One thing also not to forget is, and I know we've had it come up, is so like when you're using these missile launchers with the suspender webs, if you're actually moving and firing, it will reduce your rad missiles to a 24-inch range. It's one thing to keep in mind. The suspender web will actually reduce your weapon range. So keep that in mind. Your psycho missiles as well. Regular 48, it'll drop to 24. That's so you can move and fire with no penalty. It makes it an assault weapon. So just keep that in mind if you are going to be rocking that out. Overall, yeah, like it's a shame that destroyers haven't been more prevalent in games. I know in the, what is that called? It's the what is it? Heresy Herald or whatever the Warhammer community is putting out. They had a thing on destroyers, and it sounds like you're going to be getting a little bit more, I don't know, fluff or utility or something coming down the pipe with them. Right. So I'm hoping for really good things.
So being just like destroyers, like, are there other units that are comparable to them?
Veterans,
right? But you got other, like, so you have other specific Legion destroyers that are comparable a little bit. It's some of the Legion specific ones, I think, depending on how you load them out, are better, probably base. But once you start adding all the options to a normal destroyer squad, I think you can get pretty comparable. The only ones that really stick out in my mind being like above, like punching above their weight is Ashen Circle. They're 145 points. So, right off the hop, you're paying 30 points more. But they do have Axe Rakes, which is Strength 5, AP 3. Close combat weapons, which obviously makes them really, really good in combat. They all have hand flamers, which is okay, but you don't get rad grenades. And you get access to Phosphics, but unless you're playing Mournival rules, then you could have access to other stuff with Destroyer rights and whatnot. But strictly speaking, we're kind of just focusing on the core, like, Heresy Forge World rules. Just because Mournival is a deep, dark rabbit hole. Yeah. So, like, they're good. I know Blood Angels have those Angel tiers, which, again, they have access to some pretty intense weaponry. I think they can all have, like, those baby assault cannons. And
they get pretty expensive though. The thing, like, I think Alex mentioned something like 360 points for 10 of them
for a full squad.
Like
it is pricey. Like, don't get me wrong, to bump up a squad of destroyers is expensive as well. It's plus 20 points per model. If you want to give them jump packs, this is, I think, the one real
Destroyers? They're 15 points with the FAQ.
Oh, are they 15 each?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
My bad.
5 points with jump. Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing is to look at with destroyers is, do you want to take them with jump packs or on foot?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that myself. I haven't tried them with jump packs.
Yeah, like
just because I found out that in the FAQ they made it so that termites are dedicated transports for destroyers.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't used it yet, but I have 3 termites that are ready to go, and I could see the benefit of that, especially with counterattack.
Yeah, I personally think having the termite as a dedicated outweighs the mobility bonus of jump packs. Because you're able to use it as that subterranean assault. It's basically like a drop pod, but not a drop pod, and it can.
Well, you're going to get them to where you want them to be, compared to trying to fly all over the place or deep strike them down.
Yeah.
I mean, they do have a Rhino and a Land Raider Proteus option for transports, but I mean, you know, are you going to be driving them up to where they need to be, or are you going to pop up from the ground, kind of thing, right? So
yeah, I mean, personally, Bill didn't really talk about this, but the Toxifying Flamers are what I take with them myself, just because they're poison 3+.
They are,
and the rule, it says tainted. It says any successful wound dealt by this weapon removes any of the effects of psychic blessings, period. In addition, any wound of a 6 with this weapon is resolved at AP2.
Yeah.
So it's basically rending without, the strength to armor rolls.
Yep.
So, I mean, and I was in a game with a fellow Custodes player, and I chose not to assault him because I wanted, him to come at me, because I felt like I had a better chance of overwatching. And especially with the Flamer, it was funny because I ended up rolling, you roll a D3 for Wall of Flame, and Wall of Death, and I rolled a 5 or a 6, so I ended up getting 3 shots, and I ended up getting like two AP2s out of it with my 6s, and he ended up failing them, and it was so funny because he ended up being out of charge range after that. But because Custodes, you have 3 models in a squad, and 1 dying, especially from Overwatch, hurts a lot. But yeah, it's the Flamer that I think is what I like with it, and being able to get rid of blessings plus it being poison 3+. And then if you stick it in, my goal was to stick them into the termites and then have them pop up, within range of Flamer distance and start causing havoc. I think that's what literally all they are. I don't think they're a unit that is going out to destroy vehicles or wipe whole squads. I think they're literally just there to cause chaos.
Yeah, cause issues, headaches for stud guns and all their
stud guns, whatever, right? Like,
well, yeah, and they're destroyer units, right? Like, that's their specific job is, okay, specific unit. I know my destroyers can do some heavy damage to them. That's their target, right? Mm-hmm. And like I never even thought about that with the Flamer, like Dan said there. But I mean, if you position those 2 Flamers, in a good spot where the opponent has his unit really clumped up, that's a lot of chances to get those AP2s.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And you also got to think about, okay, poison, like you said, 3+. Well, if you're taking on tougher units, who cares? You're poisoned. Like,
yeah.
Now you're actually hurting those kind of guys, right? So, and especially probably with demons, it'd probably affect them a fair bit.
Yeah.
And then if there's any, like you said, tainted, any blessings, that kind of thing. But
going on the standard theme, what would you do to make destroyers better?
So I was thinking about this, and I think what makes destroyers good is depending on what legion you choose, or what part of a legion you're taking them with. Because some legions are better than others with this. Like the Death Guard is a big a big glaring light that I can see, right? Being able to take shred on the flamers, and then being able to take feel no pains against like that phosphoric if it ends up landing on you.
Yeah, that would be nice.
If it scatters back onto you. I mean, other than them looking cool and Death Guardy and whatever else, and there's other legions. Sons of Horus are a good one with being able to shoot. All your weapons are within 12 inches, so you're getting ballistic skill 5 anyways, and being able to get that extra attack on at initiative 1 with your rad grenades, like you're getting more attacks. But I mean, there's other legions that are terrible for it, like for example, like Raven Guard or Iron Hands, where Raven Guard.
I was going to say what, Salamanders?
Yeah, Salamanders can't take them, but you know what I mean. Like I think what makes them better is what legion you choose them with.
No, for sure. I agree.
I was thinking this could be greasy, and this might piss off a lot of people for people that already hate Dark Angel players. So you can buy the grenade launcher, right? You can buy a grenade launcher.
Yeah.
With the psych out grenades.
Yeah.
Well, in the Dark Angels rules, it says anyone that has a grenade launcher can buy stasis grenades for 5 or 10 points, right? So now you can have destroyers shooting off stasis grenades with their grenade launchers.
Huh.
And then them having counterattack, being able to fight first, or whatever, right? Like the potential is there.
I love how Greasy and Dark Angels were in the same sentence, though. That was nice.
And also, me and you talked about this, Bill. Where there's that one. You have that right, where any unit that takes a Perils of the Warp, it counts as instant death, right?
Yeah, for word bearers, regular destroyers could be really good with the psych out stuff, because if you take the Dark Brethren Rite of War, any failed Perils is instant death rolls, which is really good as well.
So even if it's that 4 or whatever, where it's just like take 1 wound. No, that character that just took that 1 wound, dead, right? So if you're playing other demons for whatever reason, right? Like you're like, oh, we're playing other demons. Any of those perils, a lot of times they're just like take a wound and be like, no, you're just dead, right? Like
one glaring thing that I think would make destroyers better would probably having access to like a melt-a-gun.
Yeah.
If you could give them a melt-a-gun for the equivalent as a vet squad, like 15 points per model, 1 in 5, I think that would help them be able to crack a nut and then get to whatever's inside. Like if they could blow up a rhino and charge a squad or whatever the case may be. That's the only, like, I know you can take melt-a-bombs, I get it, but I don't know, man. Psycho grenades versus melt-a-bombs, I'll take Psycho every time, I think.
Yeah.
So
would it be, I know it's a Blood Angel thing, but if they had access to Infernus pistols?
Oh, okay. If you could take Infernus pistols, yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be great. That'd be a cool option, actually, for Blood Angels.
Well, I mean, it makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. They're pistol-wielding guys, and I know Blood Angel, like, the army can take them, but I meant, like, them as just that's the way that everyone can take them.
I'm also surprised you couldn't just take it lets you take 1 in 5, but I'm surprised you just don't have the option to be able to have all Volkite Serpentas.
See, that would be awesome.
Right? Or even just take Chargers, right? Like, it'd kind of be cool. Like, Volkite weaponry and destroyers seem to go hand in hand in my brain anyways. It'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Blood Angels, like they're like the Angel Tiers. I know that most people don't play them with the Chargers, but they're the ones that get the double Chargers.
Yeah.
But yes, it does make sense that they would have those like old technology.
Yeah.
The one issue that I see that could fix them is them only being able to have Mortis join them. Mortats join. They're the only ones that can join them, right? So, I mean, if they were able to take, or if other characters were allowed to join them, I think that would help a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
It'd give them more utility or more, Sure, I think the problem is they don't want. The fluff is that they're so radioactive that no one wants to be around them.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is they got rad grenades and counterattack, and they don't want to give it parade or counterattack with rad grenades. But I think that would help a lot is if they could, have a consul or somebody join them just to give them that strength buff. And it doesn't make sense that a Forge Lord can take rad grenades, but he couldn't join them. Like,
yeah, there's some interactions that are a little bit weird that way, for sure.
So I mean, like, make it cool. If a Forge Lord, to go back onto our unit we were talking about, if Forge Lord could take rad grenades, then they should be able to join destroyers, kind of thing, right?
Nice.
Like,
You have the option of if you take certain equipment, you're allowed to do this or that kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. That'd be a simple little thing,
It'd be, fluffy or whatever you want to call it, right? It'd be work with each other, and I don't know what else to fix them other than like giving them like higher AP weapons, like a Meltagun or Infernus pistols or whatever. Because I mean, the points, they kind of work out to be around this like veteran level, and like I said, I think what makes them really good is depending on what legion you take them with.
Agreed.
I don't know. Does anyone else have an idea of what would make them take them?
It's kind of it.
I mean, you taking word. You're taking word bearers, so you're already taking their equivalent, right?
I think. Well, I mean, honestly, like, if you're looking at a Mortat consul, right? Like, I just looked him up, and he has Scout on him.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that would have been something maybe would be pretty cool to put on these guys as well.
Make them outflank or whatever in a Rhino if you don't have points for a Termite or you don't own one.
Yeah, like I'd almost even, like, I don't know about you guys, but get rid of the hardened armor and just switch it for that. In my opinion, right? If it was for a scout instead. But I mean, hardened armor does kind of fit them because they are dealing with,
hardcore.
the rad. Yeah.
Well, they're going into I think they're really meant for Zona Mortalis.
They're going into the shit, Dan.
Yeah, they're basically going into the radioactive factory or whatever, or they're in a ship where there's a reactor leak or whatever, right? Like,
yeah.
They're pretty much like the plagued or the whatever, right? They're like, oh, and I think with this new thing, I think they're going to go more into the fluff of them with the new, because I think they were going to do pre-heresy campaigns and stuff. Mm-hmm. That's what it sounds like. So, because I think that's where they're really shined is in the pre-heresy, when they were like dealing with dirty psychers and Xenos and stuff like that.
Now imagine if these guys had the options to be in Terminator armor.
Well, there's rules for that from a different company or group, but yeah.
But I mean, overall, they are what they are.
Yeah,
and I think they're what we've discussed here, and even this FAQ definitely has made them a little bit better. So
for sure.
I know.
Scoring would make them good too, but I understand why they wouldn't be, because they're not scoring. That's another problem with them.
Right.
Anyways, continue, Andy. I just had a thought.
Or maybe even the rule of they wouldn't count as a kill point because they've already, have been lost by the. They're kind of like the outcasts of the Legion, right?
Yeah,
That'd be cool for sure.
Something simple like that, right? So, but yeah, no, I've never used them. Most of these units that we're talking about, I've not really used.
Well, I know,
but
that's like this upcoming one.
Yeah.
So this last unit that we were going to talk about this was a real head scratcher because it's the regular Whirlwind. Your straight up plain Jane Whirlwind. It is found in the artillery squadron like section for heavy support, 0 to 1.
Yeah.
I think now, why is this an underrated, underused option? Well, the problem is it's competing with a lot of heavy hitters in the heavy support squad, heavy support section. It's competing with basilisks. It's competing with Medusas. It's competing with Scorpius Whirlwind. It's competing with Sicaran Arcus. Now, obviously, points play a big part. So the Humble Whirlwind is 75 points plain Jane. And it can have a couple different options. The Vengeance and Castellan missiles. So you nominate which type you're going to use. And it's basically two kind of minor types of ammo. One's strength 5 AP4, one's strength 4 AP5. They have a little nuanced little rule here in the back. Let me just hit it real quick. They're both Ordnance 1, they're both Barrage, they're both large blasts. Vengeance and Castellan are both 12 to 48 inches. The nice thing is, so that Hyperius Warhead, it is a 48-inch weapon. You get them for free. It's surprisingly actually strength 8 AP3.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's heavy 1, Skyfire, Heatseeker, and Interceptor.
Yeah, so with that, you pretty much exchange your Vengeance and Castellan missiles for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's either or, right? And then just rewinding here a second, the Castellan Warhead does have ignores cover on it.
That's the strength 4, right?
Yeah, so strength 4 AP5, whereas the Vengeance is strength 5 AP4.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to the Hyperius Warhead, like you're saying, Bill, strength 8 AP3.
Yeah, is nice for sure. I think overall, being on a Rhino chassis makes it a little more fragile than most. Obviously, it's rocking 11, 11, 10, 3 hull points. Then the kind of some of the bonuses, I guess, for this particular unit, I find. I'll be honest, I've never actually ran one, but
never seen one.
No,
either.
well, again, 75 points. It's kind of steep. Base for base, you're pretty much, you could take a Predator for the same points.
Yeah.
But concentrating on this, you can take Multi-Melta, which isn't horrible at all. I guess as far as a cheap Interceptor goes, 75 points isn't terrible to spend on it. I don't think anything else gives you Interceptor that cheap. In a vehicle chassis, I should say, right?
Yeah, in a vehicle chassis.
The one thing with this is you can take it in a squadron.
Yeah, squadrons
Right.
of up to 3.
1 to 3. So I mean, if you're dedicated really for some air defense, you have possible 3 shots with the Heatseeker and the Skyfire and the Interceptor, all that stuff. But yeah,
should we just go straight into how to fix this?
Well, it definitely
I don't know.
It needs a little bit of love. I won't lie. I think 75 points is too much. I think it needs to be like 60 or 65 points. It would be nice if the Hyperion like anti-air missiles were 2 shots instead of just 1.
Yeah,
right?
multiples would have been better. Yeah.
I think if you really want to try and get the most out of this particular squad, you'd want to be obviously maxing out with 3. I think taking a I think being able to take a Master of Signal and use the Cognus on the squadron would probably help a little bit, considering you're trying to use anti-air to your advantage. I do see these having a place as Solar, Auxilia, and Imperial Army militia cults and demon armies are going to become more prevalent in games. I think they do have a place for clearing out hordes nicely. Also, making guys just roll dice is always nice. Large blasts aren't anything to sneeze at. It's a lot of rate of fire, right? The more template coverage you can get, the more you can actually do some damage. So that's not a bad plan at all.
I think to maybe make this unit better, they need an overhaul on its weapon systems. If you remember the 40k Hydra and or the Wyvern stat line, where it had multiple shots and it had, let's say for example, Shred, where it was able to roll.
Shred would be nice. Yeah,
right. Like make this unit a bombardment unit where it has multiple shots. No, it's not super high strength, but you have the ability to re-roll wounds or something like that, right? Or different options. Like you have small templates, large templates. I know they're trying to get away from using mass amount of templates with like the quad mortars and stuff, but as a tank like this and having multiple and maybe changing up the stat line or the abilities that these weapons can do, maybe they apply pinning and they apply a -1 to the unit, right, to a pinning roll, stuff like that, right?
The old barrage rule.
Yeah, or something like that, something simple, but definitely something with Shred. Maybe give it a payload where it's a little stronger, maybe strength 6, and maybe it's AP3 instead, but it's not as many shots. You know what I mean?
Sorry, Andy.
If you do that, it's okay, Dan. If you do that, I can see them increasing the points just a little bit. But it might be a unit where they kind of look at it and say, okay, you know what? Maybe having 3 of these in my army might actually do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Just maybe have a different ammunition type where you can get poison.
Or Phosphex?
Well, even just Phosphex would be cool, but what if they even had it where you had an option of the the Arquitador Bombard, that Spicula rocket system, where you actually pick a point on the board and you're hitting. I wonder if you could almost improve the whirlwind like that, where you actually get to place, put a point on the table and you're just firing down. Maybe make it do more hits, more than 1 large blast, maybe 2 or 3 large blasts, and keep it at 75 points. It does have some interesting it has some interesting rules, that particular bombard thing.
Yeah, you gave me an idea there too, is and this is straight out of the Elder book, that combined fire.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember how the
fire prisms?
Fire prisms would be able to combine fire. Maybe something like that, where it's not a 5-inch template now. It's the next step up.
7-inch,
right? And it's a little bit stronger, and the AP is a little bit better, or something like that.
That'd be
right?
cool.
just something different, something more. You can take. There's so many other weapon systems and tanks, and even in other units and other sections like elites or something that has better firepower than what this can turn out. I don't know. Maybe it was just a thing where because they had the Whirlwind kit, the plastic kit, and they threw it in there. So,
I was gonna say I was gonna say because I think they've been around since the beginning of Heresy.
Yeah,
and I think it was literally they were literally like, well, we'll just throw it in there with the rest of them because people own these models. And at the time, the Hunter and the Stalker didn't exist when I think Heresy first came out.
True, yeah,
that's right.
And so I think they were just like, oh, we'll just throw it in there, and because right now I don't. The Whirlwind does not have a Heresy model.
No, yeah, it doesn't.
Other than you like taking a Demios and a Whirlwind and shoving them together, like they don't actually. There is no actual physical model like they'd made with the Medusa and the Basilisk.
They've just got the actual Mars pattern, right? Which is perfectly viable for anyone who's about to throw up their arms and be like, no, it's you just put them down. Mars pattern vehicles are totally acceptable for Heresy. Okay.
Boxy and square, no round circles.
This Whirlwind, I do like it with the Skyfire Interceptor weapon.
Yeah.
Maybe make it, the stat line a little bit better. Maybe 2 shots. Instead.
Yeah, I was going to say,
2 shots.
If you like the Arcus where it stands still, it can shoot twice, right?
That'd be cool.
Yeah, there's that. Exactly. There's that. Like something just that little, which would make it viable for, anti-air. If that's a thing you're going to take. I mean, it's cheap enough. You have that option, or even, give it the option to take that anti-missile system plus the regular weapon system that it would have, right?
Like an upgrade.
Yeah, just it's a different loadout. It's like 2 missiles on it or something like that. You know what I mean?
And I mean, guys, if you're still listening, and if you guys use Whirlwinds or you found them to be efficient in certain ways, just comment like how you've used them or what you've done with them, right?
For sure.
Because we want to know.
Let us
I've
know.
never seen one on the board. I've never used one. I own 3 of them, but they've collected dust, right? Like
they're in the back of the warehouse. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if people have used them, then by all means explain how you use them. I mean, because it is taking up a heavy slot with mediocre rules.
That's,
low armor and low strength and AP.
That's the issue.
I think if you're
actually, you know what?
And I think
sorry, just to interrupt you, Andy.
Go ahead.
If you wanted to play Centurion, I think a Whirlwind would still give you options for firepower, but you're not being that guy. You're not playing a 750 or 1,000 point game. You're like, hey, I took an Arcus. What's up, man? And it's like, wow, cool, man. Like, did you actually want to have fun and play, or did you just want to shoot me off the board? Right? I think Whirlwind would be a good option for lower point games because it's still strength 5 blast, right? It's essentially the same as a Havoc launcher.
So
yeah, you're making them roll.
Yeah.
I have an idea. What if you could take the artillery from the quad launchers and put them on a tank? So you could take the Thud guns, put them on there with the options that you could buy, right? Have the frag shells, or the incinerate shells, or the shatter shells, or obviously the Phosphix is the big one, or have a quad heavy bolter strapped on top of it. Just the thought.
It could be interesting.
Or even or I was gonna say a laser destroyer, but that already exists.
Hydra autocannons.
Yeah.
Right? Like
autocannons would be cool.
There's tons of possibilities.
You know what also could be a really good way to progress the technology a little bit, but not make it like super crazy or game breaking, would be give the Whirlwind almost prototype like Razorback weaponry, where it could take like double carries assault cannons, or it could take the 2 twin link las cannon. You know what I mean? Like you could actually start playing around with a little bit of like the, you know, Heresy era Razorback, like the MK1, even the las cannon twin plasma gun style, like something different. I think would be pretty neat.
No, just slot that in as a Razorback.
Well, yeah, but it
Pretty much,
could, it could fit a bunch of different roles, right? You can almost give it an option.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And there's lots. I mean, the thing could carry Volkites if you wanted.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What about if it could launch smoke bombs for your army, and like just say that it shoots, you can shoot it at yourself, and it gives yourself a cover, like a cover save if you're out in the open.
Oh, I see.
Like a smoke. You mean like a smoke screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. What is this, bolt action?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
But I
Me
mean,
and
like, if
me and Bill were just talking about that earlier. So.
but I mean, like, if it had that for free, right, where you could take the smoke bomb, because they exist in tanks and stuff, right, in the army.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you were to do it with your own
Smoke rounds.
Just
Yep.
give
Yeah.
a unit
So, I
shrouded
mean, like-
or something.
yeah, shrouded or whatever, right? So if you had like a deep striking army deep striking Terminators or jump pack unit that you're like, oh crap, they ended up right out in the cover, you could be like, oh well, I'm going to use my smoke and, you know, launch it onto my guys and give them a cover save. I don't know, just a thought. I was just throwing it out there.
Yeah, make them a utility vehicle.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
It is. No, it is.
Because there really isn't a lot of stuff like that in the game,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where, you know, I mean, yes, there is stuff that one unit applies this rules to the other unit, or there's a bubble, but for weaponry that actually has a supportive role to it, you know, not really too much like that, but it's different. Who knows? I guess we'll have to see in the future if anything does change with them, but
Yeah, well, you never know, right? Heresy 2.0 is coming, so keep your eyes peeled. There might be some goodies coming down the pipe. You never know. But that pretty much kind of wraps up this episode, guys. Appreciate the feedback, appreciate the comments, and we appreciate you guys asking about these units. If you have other units you want us to touch base on first, just hit us up in the comments, let us know, write us an email, whatever you want. We'll definitely get them on the episode, and we'll just keep kind of churning through the, you know, underappreciated consoles and unit types, and we'll keep going. And like we've mentioned before, as Heresy evolves and things, you know, update and we get into 2.0, as will our advice, or I guess our you know, our tactical, our 30k theoretical will continue to, you know, adapt and get better and talk about the new stuff as it comes out too. So nothing will ever just be written in stone. I'm sure at some point we'll end up revisiting old units that got updated now, and, you know, we'll go back and keep it fresh and going well. So
yeah, I liked that people made comments and that they actually wanted to hear about stuff, because it, you know, it gives us a topic point rather than us just fumbling through and being like, oh, you know, I've never seen this or that. And if people are like, oh, I've never seen a whirlwind, I've never seen a whirlwind either.
Yeah,
but we can talk about it, right?
it's true. Yeah, no, we really have not. It's like I said, it was a head scratcher, because we're kind of like, huh, you guys ever play with one? No, man. Damn, me either.
yeah, I don't remember last time we even seen one, but maybe one of our buddies had one a while back. But
Yeah.
I think it's probably seen one more as terrain than anything.
But yeah,
So-
it's nice if you guys, you know, give us like a direction of where you want us to go, rather than us rambling about units that are overused or whatever, right?
Units that you're interested in.
Because
or-
we'll ramble. Make no mistake, we'll round.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many rules and options and units that like guys want to talk about or want to figure out or might have other ideas to bounce off of us as well, which is pretty cool. So it's always nice to see that feedback for sure. Keep it coming. I know we do enjoy it a fair bit, as we tend to always pick each other's brains about units and stuff.
Definitely.
Come out with these weird, crazy combos, and next you know it, we're all in one chat just talking about it, going crazy. So.
Yeah. Well, excellent. But, yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on the 30K Theoretical. And just don't forget the motto: build it, paint it, play it. And we will catch you next time.